everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Tamlyn and this is Sewn on the Tyne. So I'm coming to you on a Sunday. The weather's a bit grim, I'm not feeling too well, but I'm here and we're going to film. And at the time of filming I am 6 subscribers away from 2,000. So if you are watching and you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would love you to, and you can even click the little notifications bell to be informed whenever I upload a new video. So today's video is going to be a question and answer video, and the tag is called So Many Questions. Now this was put together by two lovely ladies called Laura, who is the Specky Seamstress on YouTube. I will link her channel down below, and also Jay from the Camden Stitch, who is also on YouTube. Again, I'll link it down below. And they have put together a list of 40 questions, and I think they had some contributions from other sewing vloggers as well, and they've put together a list of 40 questions for people to choose 10 from to film a video so that their viewers can get to know them a little bit more. Yeah, so I've been tagged in this and I thought it was about time that I filmed my answers. So let's make a start. Question 1 that I've chosen is, do you have any pet helpers? Now, if you are a watcher of my channel, a follower of me on Instagram, or a person that knows me in real life, you will know that yes, I do have pet helpers. I have 2 gorgeous cats called Chester and Ziggy. Chester's a little boy, Ziggy is his sister. Now, we got Chester and Ziggy from a shelter in November 2017, and they were around 6 weeks old. They weren't able to tell us at the centre how old exactly they were because they'd been taken in by somebody. But yeah, we just fell in love with them. When we went to look around, they were actually called William and Kate, and yeah, we weren't too keen on those names. So we went for Chester and Ziggy. Originally we had been going to look at 2 boy kittens, and Chester and Ziggy were the names that I'd chosen, and then we actually felt a stronger connection with William and Kate, as they were then, and thought that I would have to rename Ziggy, because in my mind Ziggy had been the name for the boy. Sort of and ahed, tried to think of new names, and I just couldn't get away from the fact that I loved the names Chester and Ziggy. So Sam said, well, why don't you just call her Ziggy? So she is Ziggy, and they're just wonderful. I adore them. I'm sure we'll put some photos in of them for you to see if you haven't seen them before. But they are, as I said, brother and sister. They are very loving towards each other. Also play fight, which did stress me out for a little while initially, but now I realise it's just them playing, it's their nature. They are house cats because we live on a main road that people drive very fast along, even though they're not supposed to, so I just would be too frightened to let them out. B, again, you hear about cats going missing and wandering off and getting trapped in people's garages, and actually Emma, who's the zipper foot over on Instagram and YouTube, her cat went walkabout a few days ago and I was so worried about him, and obviously Emma and her son were, and thankfully they found him in a garage. He was trapped in a garage and he'd been there for a few days, so yeah, it does worry me. So the fact that we've got Chester and Ziggy, they can play together at home, look after each other, yeah, so we don't feel too guilty about them being house cats. They've got the whole run of the house pretty much, so they're perfectly fine. They get plenty of exercise, they play all the time, and they also sleep a lot. So in terms of them helping me with my sewing, they enjoy sitting on fabric. They enjoy fighting with pattern paper. They like trying to bite the overlocker thread. Ziggy often just comes and sits right behind my sewing machine. A couple of times tried to pounce on the needle, so I have to be very careful there. So yeah, I love having them around, but it can be a little bit frustrating sometimes if I'm trying to get something done, so I do have to sort of close the door and not let them in sometimes if I'm working to a bit of a deadline. But I adore them, they're wonderful. I don't know what I would do without them. They're wonderful cats. I love them, if you can't tell. Right, question number 2 that I've chosen is, when you are not sewing, what are you doing? So, when I'm not sewing, I am working full time. I'm a teacher, I teach a year 3 class at the moment, and yeah, so I'm doing that a lot of the time. When I'm not working, I am reading. I am a big football supporter, so I go to the Newcastle games. I've got a season ticket for Newcastle United, and I also like watching most football, so I do spend a lot of my time doing that. But the season's just finished, so I've got 3 months pretty much without football, which on the one hand is sad. On the other hand, it does free up a bit more of my time. Another thing that I love doing is exercising. So I go to CrossFit, and I go there probably about 5 times a week. It's literally 5 minutes away from my house. I go with 2 other girls who live very near me, and I actually became friends with them because of the CrossFit gym that we go to, and they're called Megan and Tara, if you're watching. Hi girls. CrossFit is a type of training where you sort of do strength training, you do high intensity sort of cardio blasts, you do quite a lot of gymnastic work, and I mean, we were doing handstands the other day. So yeah, it incorporates sort of a bit of everything, and I really love that. And I also love the fact that there might be somebody there who really excels in one particular thing, like one particular type of lift or one particular type of cardio, but then so one day they'll do really well at a class, at a session, but then the next day they'll struggle a bit more because it's something different that's not sort of their best thing to do. So you do put your scores up on the board at the end of every workout, and that might be a time, or it might be the number of reps that you got, or the weight that you managed, but it's not a competition. It's not sort of, oh look, that person's done really, really well, I'm rubbish sort of thing. It's just a really lovely supportive environment, and I love it. The coach is wonderful, she's called Angela. Yeah, I'm probably the happiest I've been in terms of my exercise and training regime in a long time since I've joined CrossFit. I joined in November last year. So yeah, is that everything I do when I'm not sewing? Other things that I love doing is obviously spending time with my husband, spending time with the cats. I also love live music, so going to gigs or the odd festival here and there, going to the pub. Just slip that in there. Yeah, I do like going to the pub. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Right, question number 3 that I have chosen is favourite place to buy fabric. So I'm going to name 2. There are so many places that I buy my fabric from, most of which are online, but I don't want to start naming a few because then I feel like I'll miss somebody out, and that's not nice. So I thought I'd name my 2 favourites, one of which is local to me, and that is First for Fabrics. So they have a really big store that you can go and stroke all of the fabric. I love going there. I always have some lovely chats with Julie. Yeah, it's my local store, but they're also genuinely wonderful. They are online as well, so I'll leave a link down below and you can go and check out their fabrics. Love First for Fabrics. And the other one I'm going to choose is Guthrie and Garney. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I went there for a sewing retreat last year and actually got to be in the store and look at everything, and just, yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful shop. If you've been there, you'll know what I mean. But they also obviously sell online, and they're always uploading new things to their website. So if you go to their just arrived section on their website, there's always new things to look at. And actually I did purchase some things from them last week, and I forgot to add them into my fabric haul because I'd put something on top of them and they were buried underneath a few things. So I didn't notice them when it was time to fill my fabric haul, and I thought I would show you them now, seeing as I'm talking about Guthrie and Garney. So the first piece of fabric I got from them was this lovely lilac denim. Sorry, they've just come out of the wash and dry, so they're a bit creased, but it's a little bit stretchy. It is called a stretch denim. I think I got that's the wrong side. I was thinking, wow, that's faded quite a lot in the wash. That's the wrong side. Let's show you the right side. There we go, that's better. That's more of a nice lilac-y colour. So this is a stretch denim, as I said. It, I think, is about 1.2 metres, and I'm planning on, I thought I was going to make the nest skirt, but I may change my mind. I'll make a skirt of some kind. It may be the Camden by Nina Lee. It may be the nest skirt by Tilly and the Buttons. It may be, I can't remember the name of it, but I downloaded one from Seamwork the other day, which has got buttons down the front, and I can't remember the name of it though. So it might be that. So yeah, that will be a skirt. I'll show you this one next, which is a chambray, and it's got all these Paris and France themed pictures on. So we've got a little Breton jumper, we've got some little sort of ballet pump type shoes in the shape of a heart, some little French phrases around, Eiffel Tower, lovely little hearts as well, and I got 2 meters of that to make some kind of dress, I'm not sure what yet. Emma, again, the zipper foot, has just made a beautiful Megan Nielsen Darling Rangers dress in this, so go and check that out. But I haven't decided exactly which dress I'm going to make, but it will be a dress. And the last one is going to come as no surprise really, because if a fabric's got cats on it, then it has to be mine. So here we go. It is a cotton jersey with these lovely pastel coloured, they're not pastel actually, are they? Sort of pinky, yellowy, grey, turquoise coloured cats on, and I just had to have it because who doesn't need another cat print jumper or t-shirt in their lives? I will never have enough. So there we go. I think I just got 1 meter of that to make, as I say, some sort of jumper or top. It may become a Nora, and speaking of Nora, I am wearing a Nora top from Tilly and the Buttons. It is made in this lovely leopard print cotton jersey from Fabric Magpie, and then I've added a black neckband with just using plain cotton jersey from First for Fabrics, but also I added the black to the sleeves as well because I just thought that tied in really nicely with the neckband. So yeah, that was just a little modification that I added myself, and I think it looks really cute. So happy with that. Right, this is not really in any kind of order. Question 4 is where am I from? So obviously the name of my channel is Sewn on the Tyne. I do live in Newcastle upon Tyne, pretty much central, about a mile outside of the city centre. I've lived here for the past 3.5 years. But prior to that, I've lived in various different places around the sort of northeast Durham area, and I was born and brought up in a town called Consett, which is about halfway between Durham and Newcastle. It's sort of equidistant from Durham and Newcastle. It's not halfway between, it's like, we might put a picture in on the map. A picture in on the map? A picture in of the map to show you what I mean. But yeah, so I was born in Consett and lived there until I was about 19, at which point I moved to Wales for 6 months to work in a hotel, and then after that I just lived in various houses around the Durham area with friends and then on my own, and then yeah, as I say, I've lived here in Newcastle with Sam for the past 3.5 years. I need to get a wriggle on because it's already on 17 minutes. And I told Sam this would be a quick one. Question 5 I've chosen is my favourite and my least favourite sewing task. So my favourite is actually going to sound a bit odd because it's not actually sewing, but it's pressing. I love pressing with the iron. So I hate ironing in general life, really hate it. Got 2 huge bags of ironing in the other room that are just, they've been there for a few weeks and I'll iron things as I need them. I've probably forgotten about most of the things that are in there. But ironing when you're sewing is so satisfying because I just think it makes such a difference when you press something, you know, when you sew a neckband on, for example, and then you press it afterwards and it just looks great. So yeah, I think pressing is my favourite sewing task. And my least favourite, I should have thought this through really before I answered. What do I not like doing? Oh, I'll tell you something I don't like doing, and it's probably going to sound ridiculous, but I just can't be bothered with all the marking all the things onto the fabric. You know, when you cut out your pattern, you cut out your fabric and you've got to mark everything on. Like, I know it's not a big deal, but sometimes if something's got a lot of darts in, or, you know, pocket markings and things, button markings, I just find it a bit of a faff to mark it on. I know it's quite important really to the construction of the garment, but I just find it a bit annoying. So sometimes I just decide not to do it, and then later on in the sewing process I have to then put the pattern piece back on and mark them on then. So if I just did it at the start and just, you know, got on with it and stopped moaning, then it would probably save me time. But yeah, that's my least favourite sewing task, I would say. Right, I'm going to go for Question 6, and this is just an either or, so it should be quite a quick answer. It's Paris or New York. Now, a few weeks ago, I would have said Paris. I've been to Paris a few times with my mum and love it. Love Paris. But then I went to New York in April and it has my heart. It really does, and I can't wait to go back. I'll go to Paris again, definitely. I'd love to go and do a bit of fabric shopping, and actually there's quite a few ladies there on a sewing meetup organised by Charlotte from English Girl at Home. They're there at the minute, so I've been following their stories on Instagram and it looks like such a lovely trip. So it's kind of made me want to go back to Paris and do a bit of fabric shopping and exploring again. But I do love New York, I really do, and I think if I had to pick out of the two, if I could go back to one tomorrow, it would be New York. Question 8 is going to... oh, I've missed out question 7. Question 7 is current box set. So the only thing that I'm actually watching at the minute is Game of Thrones, and I finally caught up, and it's the last episode tomorrow. I've got one episode left and it's tomorrow. So yeah, that is a sad time. I'm not sure I'm ready for the end. So yeah, that's my current and only box set. In terms of box sets that I love from previous years, one of my absolute favourites has to be Lost. Now I don't know if you've seen it, but I absolutely adored Lost. Watched it with Sam, and I think we watched it twice through all the way and just absolutely loved it. So yeah, current is Game of Thrones. Favourite ever, is it my favourite ever? Probably Lost. Also loved Stranger Things. So there you go, 3 for the price of 1. Let's have a quick drink. Just on the water today, hardcore. Just because I'm not feeling very well, my stomach's not feeling great, so water is the only way forward. And peppermint tea. Speaking of which, oh, that was a nice little, what's the word? Not a segue. Is it a segue? Anyway, speaking of which, question 8 is tea or coffee. So, might surprise people, don't drink coffee. I really dislike the smell. Yeah, I just can't bear it. I've never actually tasted it, but the smell just really puts me off. I'm just not keen at all. Don't like anything coffee flavoured. If Sam's had a cup of coffee and he comes near me, I'm a bit like, no. Not keen on coffee at all. And tea, I don't drink sort of breakfast tea, English breakfast tea, but I do love peppermint tea, green tea, those sorts of herbally teas. Not keen on like lemon in a tea, no. Oh, I'll tell you what I do like, which isn't in the question, but I do love a chai latte and I do love a hot chocolate now and again. But yeah, tea or coffee is the answer, is probably neither. Unless you're talking herbal tea, in which peppermint is my favourite. Right, question 9 is woven or knit. So which fabric do I prefer to work with? If you look in my Me Made wardrobe, I would say it's probably about 60% knit, 40% woven. I went through a phase when I first started dressmaking of not wanting to sew with stretch because I was a bit nervous. Then as soon as I did, I couldn't stop. And I love a casual t-shirt and jumper, so I've got many Green Line Studio Linden sweatshirts, many Tilly and the Buttons Nora tops. I'm wearing one. There's one on my mannequin back there. I do love a stretchy casual t-shirt. Stretched fabric's just great to work with. It's easy, you can sew it on the overlocker. It doesn't move around too much when you're cutting out. Yeah, I just find it nice and quick, less fitting to do, less darts to sew, that sort of thing. But I am over the next few months wanting to sew a few more woven things for the summer, so you will see more coming up on my channel. But if I had to choose, I'd probably opt for knit. I think. Yeah, let's go knit. And we have arrived at the last question, which is how do I store my patterns? So I've got a couple of different places that I store my patterns, so I'll put a couple of pictures in. Any new patterns that I get which I haven't opened yet and I haven't cut into, they are stored on my pegboard. So I've got sort of 2 sections on there that I can store patterns in, and they are usually the indie patterns that you know, they have their nice packets and they look nice on the wall. I've then got another little basket of some patterns. You can just see it in the background, that little pink basket. That's got a few patterns in, mainly big 4 patterns, maybe patterns that come free with sewing magazines, and a few other patterns that wouldn't fit elsewhere. But then, I have showed these before on my channel, but I'll show you them again now. The way that I store any patterns that I've cut into or any PDF patterns is like this. Oh. So I've got a bookshelf which has got on it some shelves, hence the name, but it's got on it some magazine files that just look like this. And in there, well, on the front, I've just labelled it using my label maker. I'll show you that now. My trusty label maker, which I love, which is just the Dymo label maker. I've labelled that on there Tilly patterns, because this has got all of my Tilly and the Buttons patterns in. And then inside here, we've got these wallets, which I bought from Wilko. You can get them in many places, but these are 40p from Wilko in England. I just label along the top with the patterns. That says TATB, Tilly and the Buttons, Stevie. Then the pattern envelope, I put the front of the pattern envelope on there with just washi tape around the outside. I put the back of the pattern envelope on the back of the wallet, and then inside is just all of the pattern pieces as well as the booklet. So just everything in there, and I just find that it keeps everything nice and flat, it keeps it all nice and protected. I don't have to worry about shoving pattern pieces back into the small cardboard envelope, and yeah, I really like that method of storage. I also, when I'm cutting out a new Stevie, for example, because I've made a few of those recently, once I've cut the pattern pieces out of my fabric, I'll put the fabric bits in there in the envelope until I need them. So, you know, any of the pieces that I'm not working with just at that moment, I'll put them in there to keep them safe and then just get them out as and when I need them. So yeah, that's how I store my patterns. I do the same with PDFs, so I'll print out a PDF and put it together, or I'll get it printed from NetPrinter, and then that will go into one of these as well. I do print out the instruction booklet because I prefer to have that on paper in front of me so I can tick it off or highlight the bits that I've done rather than having to look at it on my phone. So yeah, great way to store my patterns. Really enjoy sort of getting them out and looking at them, and you know, it looks pretty. I like choosing the nice washi tape to go around the outside. So yeah, I think that's all. I think that's everything. So that video was longer than planned, and Sam is going to be thrilled. I said, oh, it'll be dead easy to edit today. It's only a few questions. It'll be really easy, really quick. 28 minutes later. Hopefully that'll be cut down anyway. So I hope you enjoyed hearing my 10 questions, my so many questions tag. If you would like to get involved yourself, if you have a channel, or if you would just like to have a go at answering some of those questions, feel free to comment down below with your answers, or if you do film a video with your answers in, I'd love to see it. Thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed already, as I said earlier, I would love you to, because I'm almost at 2,000, and that's just a nice, exciting, round, whole number, rather than, you know, odd numbers here and there. So yeah, just getting to that 2,000 mark is quite exciting. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you're all having a lovely day, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye. Sam! Yeah, bit longer than planned. Sorry. Oh, it's a good job he loves me, eh?